Can I eat healthily in South Africa on 39 rands a day? This week, I took a walk to the nearest supermarket with one mission to spend no more than 273 on a week's grocery or 39 rands a day to eat healthily. This wasn't just a personal quest driven by my desire to stay as far away from hospitals as possible. It was inspired by a nutrition economics paper which compared affordability of healthy diets for an average South African or Kenyan. Their findings were quite eye-opening, with a basic healthy food basket cost of around 4,700 a month for South Africans and about 34,000 shillings for Kenyans in January 2023. Since I am South African, I used the 273 benchmark for an average South African, 39 rands a day, as suggested in the paper. So I took my trolley because the basket was a bit of a hassle to carry to see if policy reflects in the aisles. With only 39 rands a day, I realized that my choices were very limited. I had to deliberate oats or bread for whole grains, one kind of fruit or none, and whether I could afford protein and leafy greens on the same day. Then reality hit me. If this was going to be more realistic, my grocery had to be for a week, meaning I'd spend 273 rands. Fingers crossed. So I wrote my shopping list, dividing it into 6 food groups as recommended: grains, veggies, condiments, protein, fruit, oil, and dairy. The paper's venture to suggest an affordable food basket for the nation was based on existing policies and guidelines. For example, the National Policy on Food and Nutrition Security Plan aims to make sure that we all have access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food. This plan addresses affordability and availability of healthy foods for everyone. Next is the National Strategic Plan for Prevention and Control of Non-Communicable Diseases, the NCDs. This is a people-centered approach for early disease detection, prevention, and management of NCDs. It aims to prevent and control diseases like diabetes, obesity, hypertension by promoting healthy behaviors like dietary shifts. And no, I am not talking about that January meal plan you had and didn't stick to. I am talking long-term changes here, sustainable change. And lastly, the FCC, with a goal to regulate and monitor the quality of food products to ensure that you and I are informed and protected. But it does not necessarily regulate affordability or incentivize healthy options on pricing. This is because pricing on its own is influenced by a number of institutions like the CCSA, Competition Commissions of South Africa, the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, the Department of Trade, and a whole lot of others. While policy clearly outlines the importance of nutrition, the implementation does seem to fall short. Of course, the market nearest to my place may be a bit pricey compared to others, but the budget proved unrealistic, at least if you're eating for nutrition as the policy implies and not just to get by. Our policy pushes for behavioral change but falls short in providing support for structural conditions needed. And someone needs to check this fact, because how is it nearly the same price as my grocery? This budget is meant for a person living on a minimum wage, and I couldn't even afford it. In fact, I went over the limit. It makes me wonder, what of the person living on government support like an unemployment fund or a social grant? My mission to determine whether I could eat healthily on 39 rands a day while following the nutrition guidelines was complete. but it did not yield favorable outcomes. And I will admit, my method came with its limitations. I could have opted for other kinds of foods within the food groups, however, they had to be specific to my preferences. And I could have used more than one grocery shop to compare prices or include local vendors. However, my environment does not have that as an option, so I do not have that much diversity in my choices, at least not without transport costs. If 39 rands a day is what it would take to eat healthily on paper, then we need policies that make that basket affordable for all, not just in theory, but in practice. That means price controls and consistent incentives on the products that the government's health nutritionists deem as healthy and necessary to eat must be applied, especially because studies on incentive rebates for healthy products prove that consumers are likely to act on the desire to eat healthily when given the means. Lastly, nutrition interventions and education that is paired with economic enablement need to be strengthened. But that is just my opinion based on this experience. Let me know if your healthy basket is affordable or if you consider discounts when doing your groceries. Until next time, stay well and stay healthy.